We're live.
En vivo y en acción. This is cool. We never do this together.
I know. What's up?
9 p.m. Oh, snap.
Same. People go to sleep early these days.
Right. Mentira.
Y'all are up.
¿En dónde están?
Buenas noches, buenas
Yes.
noches, buenas noches.
I know. I always say, what up? Don't change morning or nighttime.
Right. Jorge's not here, so I had to improvise. Hey, Wendy.
Hi. It's your favorite sisters.
So tonight, guys, we want to talk to you about trusting the process. And in that, I asked my sister to share a very personal experience, life experience with you guys, because through this journey, I've learned that trusting the process is necessary, but also very hard to do. So for those that don't know me, because we're also live on my sister's Instagram, I am Elena's sister, Gabby. And who are you?
Oh. And I'm her sister, Elena.
So we're going to be looking at two cameras. So we have been on our health and fitness journey for 6 years plus. All right. So I started my journey. Well, actually, she started her journey before I did.
Yes.
Right?
In 2012, 2013.
Right. So,
Yeah.
and you lost 50 pounds?
Yeah, it took me 2 years, but 50 pounds.
Okay. So 2 years, lost 50 pounds. And honestly, I've never struggled with weight. I actually gained weight with my pregnancy, and I gained 38 pounds. And I wanted to lose it, right? I wanted to get it off my body because I'm not that tall. I'm short. And so 38 pounds on my frame is a lot. And so I realized that, that it takes, took her, like she said, 2 years to lose 50 pounds. And it was finding things that worked for you.
Yeah, because I didn't have what we have now, the tools we have now. So I was like figuring it out on my own.
There you go.
Yeah.
So now you don't have to figure it out because we literally have everything in one box. Like we literally receive, access to, and even when we joined our first program.
It's not what it is now.
Yeah. So we've, progressively gotten better. Now we have access to a virtual gym with like tons and tons, over 700 plus workouts. We have access to 2 robust nutrition programs. We have obviously the accountability community that we've created. And so I think that when you started, you had to kind of piece everything by yourself to get that
from
off.
different sources and
Okay. So now, fast forward, I need to lose weight. I put myself through the journey and I lose 50 pounds in 1 year. But in that process, I said to her, hey, why don't you join me? This is like at the beginning. So I joined in March of 2014. I joined my first virtual accountability group, which is a support group with other women trying to, get healthy as well. And, it's not just about losing weight. For some women, it's really just, maybe gaining muscle, maybe toning up, maybe gaining weight, So it's different for everyone. So I joined and I said to her, why don't you join me? So in April, I asked you to join.
Yeah, because at that point in my 2-year journey, I had hit a plateau. So I had... Right.
Yeah.
And then I had moved upstate, so I didn't have I didn't have accessibility to the gym like I had before. Mm-hmm. So that combination, I was like, okay, well, it can't hurt. And so the rest, I think the last 20 pounds I ended up losing with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she joins, and what worked was, again, fitness, following a fitness program from beginning to end.
Yeah.
And following the nutrition program, right? A simple nutrition program, drinking our nutrient-dense shake, and you leaned into the accountability group.
Yes.
So that's
our first accountability group.
So historically, that's what has worked for you.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So share with us,
and real quick, so even before I jumped into the tools that you had, I created that, right? Like I had a gym buddies. I had an accountability person as well who was my nutrition. But I had to figure it out, right? So like I was doing Zumba at the gym, and I didn't do anything else but classes. So I started with Zumba and then bootcamp classes, blah, 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 because I needed an instructor. Like, I didn't know what to do at the gym.
Right.
And then nutrition-wise, I had no idea. So it was just kind of like trial and error. And then the accountability, I've always had it. Like, picked a friend. I was like, come with me. And like, whether it was, you know, my girl Jocelyn or whoever, that week, I was like, we're hitting the gym. So the idea was the same, but it was so much better. Because it was just there.
Okay. So this puts everything
together
for you and makes it so accessible and available wherever you are. Right, because at the time when I invited you, you weren't.
So I was living in Bumble Freak, Ithaca. It's beautiful, but there's nothing there.
Right.
And I don't know how to drive. Still don't know how to drive. Right, I couldn't get to the gym.
City girls.
Girls, right. Well, you have a license at least.
Right.
You just don't drive.
But I just don't use it.
It's another story.
That's another live, you guys.
And I was just like, no, is not a whole other live. She has a license and don't use it.
But that's not what
the story.
Really?
I'm just saying.
Really?
Anyway, it's not a big. Anyway, so
I'll drink my water.
So no, yeah, and then I didn't have access to anything, so I was like, all right, I'm gonna just work out at home, and it was perfect. And then as the years progressed, it just ended up working better with my life. No commute, in my house. I'm always late. Like, I mean, it just, right, like, my responsibilities as a professional grew. I didn't have as much time as I had in my early 20s to go to the gym all the time. I just didn't. So,
all right. So then she joins. She has success, right? Fast forward, life, obviously, I feel like, you know, you struggle.
Yeah, so I've always struggled with my weight since I was little. And then, you know, I was successful that time through a combination of things. And then over the course of 4 years after that, I ended up gaining the weight back very slowly. Just as slowly as I lost it, I gained it slowly back. And I tried, you know, I always like continued to exercise, but it was always on and off. I always continued to try to stay healthy, eating healthy. It was always on and off. And so eventually, like, all of that, you know, it's everything adds up, whether it's in a positive or a negative, and in this case, it was a negative. And so I ended up gaining back 50 pounds. And it was like life just hit me for different reasons: anxiety, depression, my mom's stroke, moving multiple times, like, you know, moving into new roles. It could have been positive or negative. I was eating. And, you know, it just, and then the biggest thing of that was that I struggled with my commitment, that no matter what, like, I just didn't do it consistently. That was the issue too.
Okay. So when it worked before, it was because you were consistently showing up to your fitness, to your nutrition. And you were consistently participating in our accountability group.
Yeah. And the thing about it is that I showed up no matter what. Like, it wasn't perfect, it wasn't pretty, but I showed up. And then somewhere along the line, I think when in trying to either keep the weight off or trying to, I don't know, like, go back, or, you know, I ended up in, like, I don't know, like a little tornado of a mess. Like, I just swirled. And I remember just wanting the process to be perfect without realizing that I had never been perfect in the past. So I think it was just the stress of everything. And I'm a perfectionist naturally. So I brought that into my health, you know, my health and fitness. Yeah. But it was weird because before I was just enjoying it. I was figuring it out. Maybe because it was new. I don't know. And at this point, I knew what worked, but I was just like all over the place.
So let's fast forward to early this year, to 2020. Can you tell us what happened?
So at the beginning of this year, basically, like I said, over the course of 4 years, I gained the weight back. And so this is the highest weight I've been, which is basically the same weight that I had been back in 2012. And back in 2012, I needed to lose weight because my doctor told I didn't get my period for 3 months because my doctor told me, discovered I had polycystic ovary syndrome, PCOS. And so they wanted to put me on steroids. I said, no, let me try the alternative, which was lifestyle modification. It worked. Yay. Now, other health issues have presented themselves. So I found out that I'm considered pre-diabetic. My father and my grandmother and...
Yeah.
Right.
So everyone from
diabetes runs in our family, basically.
So it runs from my father's side, and then also runs on mommy's mom's side. So abuela Irma had diabetes, right? So basically we're crucified, which is why I always say that these are things that, you know, are preventable. Right.
So I knew, I was like, shit. I got scared, and
I think she was trying to hide it from
me.
I
did actually hide it.
Right.
I did hide it because I knew how she would react, and I was like, I gotta figure this out, but like not really figure it out because like I know what to do, but this is what fear does. Mm-hmm. Like I got scared, and like I just try to do whatever and everything, and because my fear is if I don't manage this, if I don't get, and like this is easily preventable. Just lose weight and shift your diet and you're good to, like, I'm not there. I haven't crossed that line. So I started reading, right? Because now I'm like, oh my God, I have PCOS. That's not something that goes away. And then now I'm considered pre-diabetic. And so I'm like, I started reading. And the reading of everything made me more scared. And I started to panic. So then I started trying different things that I had never tried before when I already knew.
Let me stop you. So I'm going to just backtrack a little bit. So when I find out, she already knew, because this is the second time you heard the news.
Yes,
right?
Because I went to another doctor for something else.
Right. So this is the second time. So the second time she hears the news is the first time I hear the news. And so when I heard the news, because she had put the doctor on speaker, which was probably... You know,
and I was here in her house.
Maybe it was like a bad call on her behalf, but good call because then I found out. So as soon as she hung up the phone, I said, you know what to do, right? That was all I said because I know she knows what to do.
Right. You also said, this is not a joke. This is serious.
Right. And so I said, you know, and we had a conversation where, you know, I reminded her about, you know, everyone who has had and that it hasn't ended very nicely. You know, you guys, I'm gonna share something that I typically don't, but when she was born, and I don't know that she knows this, and I'm gonna tell her on this live, when she was born, the day she was born, my grandmother, my father's mom, was getting her first leg amputated.
The day I was born?
The day you were born. The day she was born, wow. So 30...
The grandmother that I'm named after.
Right. So my father's mother was getting her first leg, and you heard that right, because she got both legs amputated. And, because of diabetes, because of complications, this is no joke. So when she told me, you know, fear also set in me, because this is my little sister, you know? So my role is to take care of her. And, and so... When I heard that from the doctor, I was like, oh, nah, we got to take care of this. And we got to take care of it now. And so, you know, my father, you know, didn't even know what to do the day she was born. Am I supposed to go over here? Like, it was just one of him. And where do I go first? My mom needs me. My wife needs me.
Wait, so that picture that I have with Abuela is from that... Oh, no, I'm older in that picture.
You were a little older.
Okay, my bad.
Yeah. So basically,
was that her second foot?
Her leg?
Yeah, her second leg then? In the older picture?
Yeah.
So a year later.
Yep.
Okay.
So we had the conversation. So fear sets in, right? And she starts basically trying to accelerate the process of losing weight.
Right. So I'm like, I gotta lose weight fast.
Right.
Because I'm scared. And in my head, like, I have anxiety. If y'all follow me, y'all know I have anxiety. So my head went from, like, I'm pre-diabetic to I'm going to die. Basically. Like, legit. If you know anxiety, you already know how it works.
Right.
And so I started reading, researching, and talking to friends. And I was like, because the thing about it is that I know that the tools that we have take time.
Right.
And I was like, I don't have time. I'm going to die tomorrow. So first I tried... intermittent fasting. I was like, I'm gonna do this slow. I'm gonna try a bunch of stuff all together later on, whatever. I tried intermittent fasting, and legit, I texted her one time, and I was like, bro, like, I don't know what's wrong. I looked it up. I think I'm hypo something. I waited too long to eat. It was a mess. And I didn't really know what the hell I was doing. I was kind of just like trying to figure it out. And then I was like counting calories. I had never counted calories in my life, ever. So now I'm counting calories and fats and grams, and a bitch don't do math. So I was real stressed. So that was just not helping. Then I was like, okay, well now I got intermittent fasting. I didn't have shit because the bitch almost fainted. And then I tried, high fat, low carb diet. And like more math, more stuff I didn't understand. And I was just like, this is so hard. Like, I literally made it hard for myself.
Right. You were complicated.
This is so complicated. Yeah, I'm like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I literally felt worse than when I started back in 2012, 2013. Because
I think you were trying to beat time.
Right.
You were trying to do something in like 2 seconds.
Right. And then I was working out still.
Right.
I was doing that every day. Now I had picked that up.
But we always say, right, that you can't out-train a bad diet.
Right.
And so the other thing is that my sister, because fear set in, she was trying intermittent fasting, and she wanted
it together.
But the thing is, you were trying to get results in like 2 minutes.
Right. I was
and
like,
when
I
she didn't,
10 pounds in a week.
And when that didn't happen, she was like, well, let me add this other component to it because that's definitely going to work. And then when that didn't work, right, she added some other stuff. Like, lo que dice Karen, she was haciendo un arroz con mango.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's what she said.
Okay. And then the last one was, and I'm going to add something at the end of this because I don't want people to be like, oh, you're bashing. Relax. So then I know a lot of like friends have had like, lost weight quickly on the keto diet, and I contemplated it for a second, but for me it just felt too extreme, right? Because at the end of the day, often what I hear with keto is people say, oh, you lose weight really fast, but then you gain it back. And like, it's like this under, like, when they say, those commercials where they're like, oh, if you take this medication, you might die. Right. Like that. So it's like one of those, like, right. But you gain weight quickly. And I'm like, the point is, like, I can't gain the weight back. Like, I have to keep it off. Right. And so I was like, I'm not going to do that. And so, and I didn't want to dive into that. But the fact that I even considered it, like.
Because you were desperate.
It was desperate. Like, thinking back on it, I'm like, oh, shit. And this is what I wanted to say. Listen, everyone's body is different. And so what works for us, what works for me, like, we literally could do the same thing and our bodies will react differently.
Of course.
And so, like, I'm not trying to bash anything. What I'm saying is that those things did not work for me. Mm-hmm. And they didn't feel, and I think more importantly, they didn't feel, and just as importantly, they didn't feel right to me. It was complicated. It was stressful. I was already stressed because I'm scared. Remember, I'm going to die. So I just couldn't do it. So I remember I'm at my sister's house. I was like at a point where I was sitting on the couch and I waited till everybody went to sleep. And basically I started crying and I was like, I'm scared. And then
watch it.
I explained to her like what I had been doing, what I was scared about. And
so I had to let her like try to figure it out because I also know how she is. And when I had the conversation and I said, this is serious and we got to act, right? But we got to act with the right tools and we got to act, effectively and appropriately. And she went and she did research and did all the wrong things basically to try to do it fast, even though she knows how to do it right. And so I reminded her again, I said, the reason why it's not working is because you haven't given one thing really an opportunity. And so what has worked for you, why don't we go back to the basics? Right? And so we went back to basics and she started that. I said, you need to just focus on what has worked before and really just trust the process because you know that it works. If you show up in your fitness, and you also couple that with showing up in the kitchen, right? And you lean into the accountability group. And let me tell you something. She's in my accountability group, and she did not want to be a part of it. Do you remember that conversation?
Yeah, I was like, I know. I said, habla mucho. I said, they talk too much. Yo, I'm like, there's mad girls in there. I'm like, yo, they moving mad fast. I'm like, what are they talking about? And then now I check in twice a day, probably like 3 times. Cause
and she just told me the other day, she's like, I love the chat. She's like, I love it. And
I mean, what else I got to do?
But the thing is, the girls are so, like, first of all, the accountability is there to support each other, to hold you accountable, right? Because there are days that, you know, we don't want to show up. We don't want to show up for ourselves, but we show up for them, right? And vice versa. They don't want to show up either, but they're like, man, look at all these sweaty pictures, or look at all these amazing meals. And then that's
what I needed. Like, right. I know, right? The nutrition, boom, right? That also felt right. I knew it, and it's almost like relearning it because I had stopped doing it. But I know that it works. It feels good, like a bitch ain't fainting, you know. And then the workouts, like it's just that's never been an issue really. You know what I mean? And then the accountability for me has been crucial because it's what keeps me motivated. So like I've been talking about how I didn't lose weight last week, but it's like, it's so like timely. You know, we had a nutrition call and other girls started sharing how they've been feeling, and they're, you know, sharing about like their obstacles, and all of that helps because this is for the long run.
Yes.
This is for the long haul, right? So let's say I need to stick to this for at least a year consistently so I could get a good amount of weight down for my health, right? That's a long time. So I need a group of people who's gonna be there for me to be like, keep your eye on the goal, remember your goal, focus on that, you know, as obstacles come, use the encouragement, lean on them, etc. I was thinking about that today, and I'm like, yeah, that's why this works, because nobody, like, this is hard. Like, this is simple, but it's challenging to do over a long period of time because we're brainwashed to be like, well, I want to see the results like this, or you're, you know, moving in fear, right? So like that, like, just exasperates the situation. But yeah.
So I have to constantly remind myself, remind her, remind the ladies in our group that it is a journey, right? And it's something that you stay on.
It's a
lifestyle, yeah. It's a journey that you show up every single day, and you focus just on today, because, you know, I always say this, God only gave us the power to be able to process 24 hours. That's it. And he meets us here today. He didn't meet us, you know, he doesn't meet us yesterday. Yesterday he met us yesterday, not today. You know what I mean? If I just confused you. And he meets us here today and gives us the power to be able to see this day through, and he gives us the power to overcome, right? Because that's who God is. He is amazing. So I always chat about, you know, the fact that we have to focus on just one day at a time. And, you know, my sister did mention, you know, I have to stay on this for a year. Yeah, you have to stay
one day at a time.
Well, right. I mean, and when she says a year is so that she can see some sort of tangible results, right?
Right, because right now my goal is I need to get down X amount of pounds because of the pre-diabetes, right? But the big goal is this is just a lifestyle.
Stay on it.
Yeah, to stay on it. And like before we were talking about how you mentioned how like, or I mentioned, I don't know, about how I was a perfectionist. And that was one of the biggest obstacles as I was gaining over the 4 years, as I was gaining back the weight. The thing that really got in my way was that I'm such a perfectionist, and that's a battle that I feel like I'm winning now versus before. It was like I just felt like I kept getting defeated, and like we're always growing, learning, expanding our mind. But I feel like now that's a battle that I'm beating. Like literally I come into every day and I'm like, restart. Every day is a restart. Every day is a fresh, like exactly what you're saying. It's just one day at a time. I think right now what's hard for me is remembering that this is, it takes time to trust the process. Like right now, like first of all, I was eating on the wrong meal plan, which is why I was a little hungry. And then when you helped me get on the right meal plan, I was like, this is a lot of food. Like I'm a big girl already. Like am I gonna gain weight again?
But you gotta
so I have to go back and say, trust the process, trust the process. And I have to remember, like our mindset is so messed up with diet culture to believe incorrect information or they've been feeding us incorrect information, like, oh, you want to lose weight, then you
gotta cut this and you can't eat that much, right. And that's why accountability is good, because you were able to say, I feel hungry, and I'm like, well, let's discuss, what are you eating?
She knows I'm not good at math.
And then once I helped her, calculate, we discovered that she was on the wrong plan. So yes, accountability is good because you don't have to do it alone. And if you're not good at math, then you got somebody to calculate for you. But I think that most importantly is, you mentioned very quickly the perfectionist thing, and I think that many of us are perfectionists. I think I am a perfectionist, but I think you nailed it the other day when you said I'm more detail oriented. Yeah. But I feel like, many of our girls, many of our ladies are perfectionists, and what happens is they want to do, let's just say we're doing a 21-day program right now, and they want to do all 21 days like perfect.
That's me. That was
100%, right? And then when that doesn't happen because something happened on day 5, they either want to throw in the towel, legit, or they want to restart day 1. And I'm like, whoa.
That's not even a reflection of real life.
Right.
Like, you can't hit reset on life. Bro, right. You just keep going.
You just keep going, right? You got to just shake it off. Like Jorge teaches Matias, right? Since he was little kid, every time he falls, he would say, okay, papi. Like, instead of crying, he would be like, you're big boy. And he would be like, all you got to do is clean your knees, right? And get back up, right? And that's basically what we're teaching, our ladies in our group, that it's not about being perfect, and it's really about you just pushing yourself to persevere and pushing yourself to show up for yourself on a daily basis the best way you can that day. And sometimes, that looks different. Today, that may be all your meals were right, and you showed up for that workout, and you checked in the group. And tomorrow, it might just be you working out. And the next day, it might be you missed that workout, but you got those meals on point. And the next day, it might just be you messed that whole thing up.
Yep.
But you not giving up is what really matters. And that's why we're still here together, persevering for a better lifestyle, a better health, and we are going to beat this.
And breaking generational
diseases,
illnesses, yes.
And that's what this thing is all about, you guys. So when we continue to invite you, right, when we continue to say join our group, it's not because we're inviting you to look pretty in a bathing suit. That's just a bonus, right? It's not about that. For us,
since you could put the bathing suit on now, you look cute.
That's what I'm talking about. I mean, it's really just you guys searching for health the way we are, and really bringing that into our future generations, because there are so many diseases that have continued to follow us generation from to generation, because we've allowed them to do that.
Right.
And we have the tools to stop them, and it only takes one person in order to open the door for us to do that. And so we're inviting you tonight that if you are dealing with any type of health issues, with any type of
body discomfort, like pain, things like that,
right, it's time for you to take action. I mean, literally, you do not need to do this alone. We don't do it alone. And honestly
I'm not
speaking,
trying to do it alone.
Right. I think it will be a lonely road for you to do it alone. We have amazing ladies that are getting amazing results every single, week. We hear better and better results, but it's not about the weight that they're losing. It's everything that they're gaining in return that we want to share with you. And that's why we continue to invite you. We have a new group starting
August 3rd.
Monday, August 3rd, and we want to invite you to join us, to link arms with us, and to search for health, because like Wendy said here, health is wealth. Because if you are not taking care of this body, this is the only one we have, right? And you are searching for, I don't know, what? Then how are you going to enjoy whatever it is that you're searching for? Whether that is wealth, money,
if you're not here,
somebody else is gonna enjoy that, but not you. So let's get you healthy, let's get you right, let's get you feeling good, but most importantly, let's do it in a way that is healthy, in a way that is enjoyable, in a way that is going to last, in a way that is sustainable. Not you doing it fast and then gaining it back, and sometimes even double.
That shit ain't even healthy.
Right. All right. Thank you so much for being vulnerable tonight and sharing.
Choked up, man.
But sometimes we have to, share our struggles.
Yeah. There's other people that are going through this and feel ashamed, scared to tell someone. Like we have a very good relationship, and I was scared to tell you, ashamed, and then it just makes it so much worse. You don't have to do it alone. You said it. You nailed it. You don't have to do it alone. God made us to be humans in community and to love each other, and got to show up for each other.
Let's do this. All right, you guys. Thank you so much for joining. If this resonates with you and you know that someone might need to hear this message, make sure that you share it. Share it, because sharing is
caring.
Have a great night, you guys.
That was so cheesy.